this was a really wonderful surprise.
Well, thank you so much. And I appreciate you taking the time to talk as well and to promote the film.
Now, you've done your share of action movies. What brought you to Jiu Jitsu?
Well, I thought about, wouldn't it be neat to go ahead and combine science fiction with martial arts? And I wanted to do it in such a way that it didn't take away from the martial arts, only added to it. And so, all martial arts films are about basically the same premise. It's about the lead facing an unbeatable foe, somebody that you just can't beat at all, even though you're skilled. And in this particular instance, I came up with somebody that can't be killed and hasn't been killed for thousands of years. I love the idea of a team, and growing up and watching movies like The Magnificent Seven on TV, and when I got into film school, I saw The Seven Samurai and saw that it was made from that. And then, of course, The Dirty Dozen. I love those kind of team films. So that's really where this came from. I called my writing partner and I said to him, I said, why don't we write a comic book? And he said, you got to be crazy. And I said, well, I am crazy. I said, but let's write a comic book so I can see it. And that way I can visualize it. And so we wrote Jiu Jitsu as a comic book first. And then I could actually see the film, and I thought it would be very, very fun and entertaining. And
it is a hero's journey. You have a reluctant hero. You've got, implacable odds, that he has to go up against. But you've also got some of the best fighting sequences I've seen in a long time.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I was fortunate enough to find a wonderful stunt team in Thailand when I first brought together and remade Kickboxer. And so I used this stunt team in Kickboxer Vengeance and then Kickboxer Retaliation. And then I brought them out to Cyprus to shoot Jiu Jitsu. And so they're Muay Thai centric. But Muay Thai tends to have a very aggressive and yet ballet-like choreography to it. And so I work with them a few months before we start shooting the film, and we start to talk out the fight sequences, and then they'll actually videotape them and cut them together in their studio and then send them to me. I look at them and we do notes back and forth, and then we get a kind of a basis, And, I always try to back the camera up. I was fortunate enough to have Alain Moussi, who's a 6th-degree jiu-jitsu master.
Yeah.
And, of course, Tony Jaa, who is just, second to none from Ong Bak and forward. And then I had Juju Chan, who was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And then Maurice Crump, who was also trained by the same jiu-jitsu master that trained Tony Jaa in Thailand. By the same Muay Thai master that trained him. And then our alien, Brax, is Ryan Taryn, who doubled for Aquaman and for Thor, and he's a martial artist extraordinaire himself. So I was fortunate enough to just have this core to work with, And in the center of it is Nick Cage, who is the heart of the film. He embraces genre. He comes at it with such passion, and he creates this character that is really fun to watch. And then he also sells the exposition in the film, I think, impeccably.
I think you were blessed with the cast that you have. The film is a lot of fun. It has kind of I want to say a tongue-in-cheek feel to it. It's aware of itself. And was that on purpose?
Yeah, I think that you have to approach. All the stuff that I grew up with, starting from Enter the Dragon, when I was a kid and I was start training in martial arts, you have to have a little fun. If you don't have a little fun and you don't start to throw some humor in there, you can't take this too seriously. After all, these guys are sitting there and they're doing martial arts all over the place. So you got to be able to approach it with a sense of humor.
I told that to Alon yesterday. I said, there's something very Jackie Chan-ish about the film, and he just hit the ceiling. He said we were going for that type of feel.
Yeah.
Working with Nicolas Cage is it's got to be kind of a blessing because he's been around forever. He knows a lot.
Yeah, he when we sat down and we talked about the character, first he really respects the filmmaker and the storyteller. And so he sits down and he starts to talk to me about what I see and what I was thinking about going for and stuff. And so when he was talking to me, he said, something? He said, I really think that I should use Dennis Hopper in Apocalypse Now and see if I can channel that energy. And I said, that'd be fantastic. And so that's what he did, I mean, if you think about the fact that he's been sitting in the middle of Myanmar, Burma for 6 years waiting for these guys to show up again, he had to have gone out of his mind. So I think he's perfect. He had a lot of fun with the character, and it's just great to work with him.
Well, I've known Nick for a long, long time, and he's, people have this idea of what he's like, and he's just a sweetheart, to work with, and I know that. He adds to a production. I mean, he has opinions, and does he go over that with you? I mean, he's respectful of the director's chair, right?
Oh, very much so. But he does. And, you want that he's a consummate artist for one thing. And not only is he a consummate artist when it comes to acting, and he's the kind of artist that reminds you very much of the British actors or the European actors who really jump in and do as many roles as possible so that they can just get better and better, and that's what he does. And he's got all kinds of input and all kinds of suggestions, and I'm very open to it coming from somebody like that.
In our final moments together, what do you think audiences are going to take away when they see the film?
I want to give them the opportunity to escape. I want to give them the opportunity to sort of lose themselves in the character. I would hope that the little boy and little girl and everybody will sit there and see that they have the ability to kick the bully's ass if they feel like training that hard, and let them escape for about an hour and a half and have fun. If I can do that, I think I've done a pretty good job.
Jiu Jitsu is an extremely fun and I think it's a very well crafted tip of the hat to those 70s, martial arts films. It does its job and entertains, and it's got such heart to it.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
This celebrity interview is sponsored by...
I'm Annette Civarella with Pia Anderson Moss Hoyt, Utah's leading entertainment law firm, serving clients nationwide. We provide solid, attentive representation focusing on minimizing risk, reducing cost, and protecting the reputation and privacy of our clients. Our goal is to provide you with the legal representation you need to make the right decisions and to protect you and your creative works. Call or email me for a free consultation.